Hello guys. So today we are going to solve a question of lead code which is permutation in string. It's a medium level question. Let's see what the question is. Given two strings s1 and s2, write a function to return true if s2 contains the permutation of s1. In other words, one of the first string's permutation is a substring of the second string. So let me give you the basic idea of what this question is saying. So first of all, what is permutation? Suppose I have a string ABC. The permutations of these strings possible are A, C, B, B, C, A, C, B, A, etc. So there are 2 points to be noted. First one is that the length of all permutations are same. Permutation of particular string is same. And the second point, which is the most important, is that the frequency of each character in a string permutation is also same. So this second point is very important and we are going to do our code based on this observation. Okay. So let's see the example number 1. We have a string s1 which is a, b, and we have a string s2 which is e, I, d, b, a, o, and o. Okay, so we have to see if all the permutations the possible of AB are A, B or BA. Okay, so we are going to use the sliding window concept also, but before that we are going to, and one more thing important is that the constraints, that the input string has only lowercase characters. Okay, so and we know that there are 26 alphabets, so we are going to create two integer arrays of size 26 to store the frequency of each character. Okay, so we'll have one frequency array to store the frequency of this s1 string. So we have a frequency array from 0 to 25. So A will map to 0th index, B will map to 1 index, and so on. Like this, Z will be mapped to index number 25. Okay, and after this we are going to use the sliding window concept. So we'll start. Initially it's a two-length string. So first of all we'll create one more frequency 2 array which will store the frequencies of the string s2. So by default initially we'll have a two-length array ei. So we'll update the frequency 2 array with E1 frequency and I frequency. Then at each iterations we'll see if frequency 1 array and frequency 2 array are both same. Okay, then we'll slide the window. Now my new array will have the frequencies of ID. So how I'm going to slide my window? I will subtract one frequency of E from the frequency 2 table and increment the index where D will be mapped in the frequency 2 array. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to increment dB, then I'll check the frequency 2 and frequency 1 and so on. And if there is no match between frequency 1 and frequency 2 table, I mean that if I get the match of frequency 1 and frequency 2, then I'll return true. Okay, so let's start the coding part. First of all, I'll find out the length of my strings. So int n is equals to s1 dot length, and m will store the length of s2. Great. Now first of all, if my string n length is greater than m, then obviously permutations is not possible, so I'll simply return false. So if I'll check if n is greater than m, then simply return false. If this is not the case, then I create two arrays, int frequency 1 for storing the frequency of my string s1. Okay, so my frequency array will be of size 26, and I'll have another frequency 2 array. Great. So initially I will update the frequencies of my string s1 because I'm going to use it again and again for comparing it with the frequency 2 array. So for int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. So frequency 1 of, now I'm going to map the index. For example, if I'll first find the character position at index I equals to 0. So suppose I get a, so I have to map it with 0. So I'll simply subtract it with a. Okay, so a minus a will give me 0. So a will be mapped with map to index number 0. Similarly, b minus a means my b character will map to 1, first index, and so on. Okay, so frequency 1, first of all, what is my s1 dot caret I? Okay, then minus simply a. Then at this position, at this index, I'm going to increment it, so plus plus. Okay, so this is my frequency 1 table created. Now I'll check, initially I'll check for first n, this is the length n, so I'll check for first n characters. Okay, so I have 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Now I'm going to update my frequency 2 table same way, but here s2 dot caret I minus a will be incremented. Now I'll compare both these frequency arrays. Okay, so let me take boolean result is equals to, I'll create new function is same to check if my both the arrays are equal. Okay, so let me create one more array here, boolean is same, so I'll be having frequency 1 is a 1 parameter and frequency 2 as another parameter. Okay, so for int I is equals to 0, I is less than frequency 1 dot length I plus plus. Okay, if I found one mismatch, then I simply return false. So if my frequency 1 of I is not equals to frequency 1 2 I, then I'll return false. If this is not the case, then at the end I'll return true. Okay, so I'll get the result of this first n characters, and if the result is true, that is if result, then I'll return true. If this is not the case, then we'll check for next characters of next substrings of s2. Okay, so I'm gonna start the loop. Now I have checked the first n character, that is from indexes from 0 to n minus 1. So I'm going to start from n. Okay, so n is my end point of the substring, and I will be less than m because m is the my length of S2, and I plus plus. Okay. So first of all, in this sliding window technique, what I have to do is, now I have slided from EI to ID. Okay, so I have to decrement the frequency of E from frequency 2 table array. Okay, so simply frequency 2 of the previous character in wherever it is mapped in the index will be decremented by 1. So frequency 2 S2 dot char at I minus n minus a will be decremented by 1. Okay, and new character which is d is added. So let me copy this. Frequency 2 st dot char at I is added, minus a will be incremented. Okay, so I have this new updated frequency 2 array. Now I'll check the result is same. Frequency 1 is never going to update, it's going to be same every time. So frequency 1 and frequency 2. Okay, now if my result is true, then I'll return true. Okay, so this will go till length m. Okay, if it's not true, then at the end I'm going to return false. So let's have a quick check. Okay, let's try to run. I have error in this. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to use common brackets here. Okay, great. Let's submit it. Okay, yes, then success.